Hello, welcome back to David Galata Book Dreamer. I'm David Galata and I dream up my books. And today is session 4 for creating the cover of Nascent. Last time we worked on finishing up this area in here, and I think it came out pretty nice. So that's going to be good. And today we're going to actually not use the brush as much as possible. We're going to be using palette knives. I do have my colors here all set. And any that needed any medium, it's already been added to it. And I've only used soft glow, which I mentioned last time. It's a concoction of my own making. Uh, it really adds a lot of beautiful depth and is very strong. It's a wonderful medium. Learning how to make mediums from scratch is always recommended. Got a couple of palette knives here. Not going to be using these as much. I'm going to tuck them aside. Normally, I keep all of my palette knives in a large container, so you can see that one's half empty because I've already chosen the ones that I'm going to use today. And I'll be showing off each one as I pick them out. Some of them are very unusual in their shape and the textures that they bring. I'm going to show you a couple of examples. And very unusual ones. These are FX Effects brush palettes. Palette knives, and well, this is the old Bob Ross one. It's a wonderful shape. It's actually one of my favorites. I like using that one. So that's in a side bin here next to me. And then I've got these. These are rubberized, hardened rubberized tips. They are turpentine resistant, and they are used to mold and carve away paint that's in place. So these can be very handy. I like using those when I'm working with a palette knife. So I got a bunch of greens here. I got a bunch of greens here. I don't know if I'm going to be losing all these yellows. Don't know. We'll see. Um, it's just there as a suggestion, rather than imperative. I've got my main greens all set here. And then these four colors, Payne's Gray, Alizarin Crimson, the Bone White, and Cadmium Yellow Light are there just in case I want to lighten something, darken something, shift the hue of something. I've got it all set. So, um, so we're ready to begin. Again, I use Old Holland paints for what I do. I want to start in here. This is where I want to start, and I want to work my way out from here. So I'm going to want some darker colors there. Let's see. Who am I going to use? Who am I going to use? I'm going to use this one. I'm just going to get going. I want to start with some darker color. I'm just going to take it just as a roll on the edge here. Okay? Just like that. I'm just going to come in here. I'm just going to lay it in. So it makes almost like this little bit of a fold right here. You bring that out how you wish. There we go. And that comes right around. Yeah, I'm going to do it. This is Hooker's Green Deep. Wonderful green. Really is. A marvelous green. And what I want is a lot of texture here. I want color. I want texture. And again, I'm trying to think about where the light is coming from. Where is it going? Anywhere that's already dark, I kind of want to put this in that spot. Here, there we go, there we go. And I decided I want this area here. So you can make like a nice sharp line like that. The palette is really interesting. There's a lot you can do with it. But you need a lot of paint. You need a lot of paint to make it work. You really do. So wherever I have these darker stripes here, and where I've decided I want some shadow, I'm going to be using my darker and deeper colors. And this is my guide. The colors I've already placed here are part of my guide for that. There we go. And yeah, I'm going to bring it all the way down to the bottom here. As you can see, even though much of that bottom area is going to get cut off with the actual um, making of the cover, when you're presenting your cover, it's not quite gonna all fit. So you have to keep that in mind. So in some ways, this painting is going to have material on it that won't be seen in the cover, but it doesn't really matter. So it's going to be cut here, 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 and here. That's where it's going to get cut off. You have to have your title here, author's name here. The spine is going to be about here, and then you have your back blocks, but it has a synopsis and then a barcode area right here. So having that in mind is tricky. Keeping all that in mind. Well, that was very successful. I enjoyed working with that knife. Now, what I want to do is I want to get another color in. I'm going to use a slightly different knife, though. I want to use one that's going to give me a little more texture. So I'm going to use this fan. And I don't know if you can see it clearly, but it's got a ridged edge, almost serrated. It's not really sharp, or I wouldn't be putting my finger there. What I want to do is I want to get some of these areas in here with a color that's not quite so dark. And I'm actually going to start up in here. There we go. Now we got, oh, this beautiful rippling effect. You can see it. You can see it there. And this is why I'm not sure if I want to get rid of all the colors that are there. I just want this to be effective. There we go. You can make those stripes go anywhere you want. I'm not really worried about mixing up the colors. That's okay. Palette knife work, you're going to do that anyway. What I'm looking at is textures. So I'm going to go right into this deeper chromium green. It's kind of an off green. And you just put that in. And you get these beautiful ripples in place. Like so. Hey, now you're getting the idea how this is going to work. There we go. All right, that's good. I'm going to wipe this off. Wipe off your knives a lot. That's part of this. Now I'm going to go for a slightly brighter color. I'm going to use the same kind of technique. I'm just going to come in here like this and just bring that in at that nice color there. And then we're going to go into the brightest green, which is barite green. This actually is a Sennelier product. And unfortunately, it doesn't respond as well, quite honestly, as the old Holland. So we're going to have to go with a secondary protocol. I'm going to have to go with my yellow here. I'm going to mix a little of that bright green with it. Just going to come in right there. I'm actually wavering my hands around a little bit just to give, again, a little more texture here. Like so. Okay, just like that. Yeah, all right, so this is where we're going. All right, this is where we're going. Sometimes the paint informs you. And when the paint informs you, you listen. And you listen to the paint. Listen to what you're doing. Okay? Don't get stuck in one spot and go, oh, but no. That's not where it's flowing today. Guess what? That's not where it's flowing today. All right, so we're going to stop that. Wipe that off a little more. Now, I want to see about getting some other textures in there. Again, I'm going to go for a multi-green. This is like my little froggy hand one. It's actually really nicely effective. You can really get some interesting textures in here. Wipe some more green on there. A little bit of brightness. It's really good for placing. It's really good with placing colors where you want it. There we go. So now we have all these really interesting textures. I'm actually going to go back to my darker color and start placing that in a little in a more refined way. For that, we're going to switch over to this one. And this one has a very small tooth on it. I'm going to come in, I'm going to scrape it up. And here we're going to make it very much part of this. There, we're just going to bring that in. And what we're getting is a series of very flat textures. These colors are all working with each other. There we go. Now I'm going to mix some in. See, I'm always going back and forth because I want to grab some colors and bring that in. Grab some color, bring it in. If it looks too smooth, this is not going to do it. It's not going to do the job that I want it to do. I want this to look rough. There we go. Bring that in. I want this fold here really brought in more strongly. There we go. And this, I'm going to bring this in, bring some more textures with that. And again, I'm not quite as concerned about what happens at the bottom here. That's not my big concern. Now I'm just looking at the screen, making sure that this is coming out the way I want it to. There, I'm going to need a little more of the dark green right in here. We're just going to drop that in. Okay, just going to drop it in right here. There we go. And again, I'm going to grab some. We're just going to just skating the surface. We're not making this too dark or too regular, otherwise I'd use a brush. There we go. We just want to intimate a fold. And we're probably going to need some more of this deep green. That's all right. I want this to look organic. Organic tends to look a little messy. So there we go. That's what we're doing here. We're making this a little messy. That's good. I want to get this spot here again. Oh, there we go. That's nice. Yeah. There. And we're building up layers. And that's really what we're doing. We're building up these layers. All right. I'm going to wipe this off and I'm going to go into my yellows, which have a lot of green in them now, but that's okay. I'm not worried about that. Let's drop a little here. Drop a little more here. There we go. And we're going to drop a little more right there. And a touch there. Yeah. And there we have it. Okay. Success. Now, I want to grab one of my detail. This little thing. I want to get into the Payne's gray just a touch. I'm gonna bring, there we go. Just to make that a little more shadowy. Just to knock things down just a little bit. Let me just look at the camera there. Okay, there we go. That's a really helpful tool. I'm wondering if I should just do this from now on whenever I'm painting is, you know, make a video of it just so I can use the camera to see how it's looking from a different point of view. It's always helpful. Artists have done that for, oh, hundreds of years, including using mirrors, cameras, anything to get a slightly different point of view because you can get very stuck on your point of view. And that can be very detrimental to the work. There, a little bit of a deeper shadow cut right in there. Oh, we like that. Yeah, we like that. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. We like that. All right. And now it's this rough, jagged texture that's in there. That's what I've been wanting. Nice, rough texture. Yeah, there we go. Okay, we are ready to start with this. And from here, we're actually starting way back here. This is the most forward part here. Here, this is the most forward, but here, this is more forward. This is popping forward. So it has to be done last because it's going to be painted over everything else. So I got to go from here, and I got to work my way in to this area. All right, looks like it's very bright there. So we're going to need some more bright colors, but first I want to replenish, whoops, and knock over a bunch of things. There we go. It's always good. Ah, this is what happens in a studio. All right, I'm going to get more of that Hooker's Green deep. I think I'm going to need it. Oh, boy. End up using a lot of the stuff, but it's well worth it. It's well worth it. The Payne's Gray I still have plenty of, so I'm not really worried about the Payne's Gray. All right, let's see. Yeah, it's looking good. All right, we're going to have a lot of brightness here, and the brightness is coming from this because I can see from there that's where the light is coming from. So we're going to start with a nice medium green, and because these are larger, we're going to use larger knives. Let's see, didn't really have a need for this one or this one. That's a shame because they're really wonderful. I'll keep them just in case I need them. I'm going to use this one. This one has a very interesting texture. It's almost like a fan. All right, so we're going to use this nice middle green here. And we're just going to come in. You can see it brings these stripy bits with it. And I'm going to go into this green. I'm going to mix that in. And again, we're not going to worry about exact locations. This area is a little darker. That makes sense. You've always got to know where things are light-wise. Otherwise, the whole painting suffers as a result. Yeah, so I'm going to need more brights here. I'm just going to lay them on top of each other. Look what happens. Look how that just like breaks into a dozen other textures and colors. Right in there. I just want to do that. And again, I'm not going to be too careful. This is not the time to be careful. That comes later. Palette knife is, I can see the flow, I can see where I want things to go, and that is what counts the most. Bring this in. We're going to let it break. We want some of those colors that are underneath it to come through. Without them, this is going to look very flat. We want to avoid that. We want to avoid a lot of flatness. We want this to really have some depth to it. There we go. Now, everyone uses palette knife a little differently. I've yet to meet two artists who use it the same. There are schools of thought, and I don't know. Sometimes I think the more you think about it, the worse it is. You don't want to overthink this. It's not the kind of thing you want to overthink. If you're underthinking it, that's probably just about right. Right now, my big concern is lights and darks. That's my big concern. And texture. Texture is king here. That's what rules this painting right now is texture. There we go. I'm very excited about all this. Um, my betas have been filled with praise about this book. So, um, and apparently the ending is a real, solid ending, which I kind of pride myself on as an author. I like making really solid endings. All right, we're going to go back to a brighter green. I'm going to go in here. And that will tell me where my yellows need to be and things like that. I am going to put some yellows in. Why not? But right now I need the greens in. I need these beautiful, vibrant greens to come in and just kind of take over. I felt that the initial color spread was a little muddy, a little murky for my tastes. There we go. That's better. Oh, yes, that's much better. So I'm almost simplifying it a little bit while using the same color scheme that I had chosen before. That can be a tricksy thing. And again, I'm not swallowing all of the colors, just some of them. There we go. Note how that is just, yeah, yeah, that's really coming in very nicely. Just want to put a little bit more there. All right. Now it's time to get back to, well, no, let's get to the yellows. Let's do that. Let's do that. Gonna just break them up in here. Just like that. Might need some more yellow too. I'm gonna need some more of that yellow. Um, Yep, yep. Well, fortunately, I have it right here. I don't have to dig through anything to get that. The last time we did this, it was a shorter one. This one's going to be a little longer, and please bear with me. Just as we go. Yeah, saw that. That was hanging there. It was just hanging there. Yeah, a lot of broken colors here, which is good. You want them that way. If they're neat broken, they're just not going to look natural. There. All right, let's see what I can do. Get some more of this on here. I don't want too much here because there's going to be lettering right there. So I'm not really as concerned with that spot. I am more concerned with these areas. Okay, now let's build this up again. Let me just wipe this off. At this point, I think it needs good white. There we go. What a wonderful tool. The FX series of palette knives, I highly recommend if you can get a hold of them. One of the places you can find them is Jerry's Artorama. Um, I always felt their name sounded a little ridiculous, but they've got the art supplies. They really do. They have the art supplies. You know, no matter what you're looking for, they probably have it. All right, I'm going to try a little bit of this. I'm going to try to get this barite green to behave because it has not been behaving so well. Now, this is a Sennelier color. And yeah, it's working a little, just not quite as much as I would like. They use safflower oil a lot instead of linseed. I mean, they do have linseed in their oil paints, but the safflower oil gets sticky. And I think that's, I don't know, it doesn't really help. You know, really doesn't help. There we go. There, it's nice. That's nice. I like that. All right. So let's get a little more of that. Yeah, so it's a little trickier to work with than the other colors. It's got a, although it adds a lot of texture. And not all paints work well with each other. I won't mix Grumbacher with anything. In fact, I don't use Grumbacher anymore. Only because Grumbacher is not really a high quality paint. And for most of my work, I need a nice high quality paint. Yeah, that's just the reality of the situation. No, I like that. I like how that's looking. That's very interesting. All right. Okay, we're going to continue. We got some of this brightness to put in different spots. I almost want to lay it in like it's like plates or something, like it's, you know, these flat pieces. And there's a reason for that. It's just you'd have to read the book to understand the reasons. There we go. Nascent is quite the romp. I do promise you that. You know, and I always say I like to hear from my readers because I can't get better as an author unless I hear from you. That's all of you. So the more of you who can chime in and say, hey, that was really awful or that was really great, now, then I can now do better because I've gotten feedback. Some authors try to avoid that. I don't know why. Of course, then again, I'm used to fine art critics. They can be feel brutal. Those guys. Wow, that's just crazy. You know, they'll hate your work for reasons that have nothing to do with what you were trying to say, and everything to do with their own theories on what art should be. And that's a very different arena. Very different arena. There we go. All right. That's looking good. Good, good, good. Good selection. I'm going to go back to this guy, the little fan. And no, 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 I changed my mind. We're going to this guy. And I want to get some of these deeper colors in. Let's get some of these shadows remixed in here. There we go. And again, I'm gonna rebuild them all up in here so that they really show up. Okay? I want them to really show up and then smooth out. There we go. There's another big shadow right here. Okay? Pull that up. Darker folds here and there. I really want to make this complicated. I want to bring a level of complexity to this. So it's interesting working with brush for the smooth area in the center, and now I'm working with night for this much more textural area out here. This has to have a lot of texture to it. And because every surface of these has some kind of texture on the edging, it gives me a lot of options. There we go. Yeah, there we go. Let's see one area. See, this one needs a little something. This one needs a little something. There we go. One of the advantages of making your own cover is that you don't have to really describe this to anyone. You know what it looks like in your head, or at least you should if you're going to attempt to make a cover for your own book. And you don't have to really rely on someone maybe understanding what it is that you're doing, or that whether or not they read the book. That no longer matters because you're the one who wrote your book, so you're the one, doing the artwork for it. So it really is in your hands very nicely. And I like that. I like having my own fate in my hands. I don't like it being in the hands of someone else. You know, maybe I'm just paranoid that way. That, that could be. Okay, I'm going to go back to that Payne's gray here. I want to get some darker area just right in here to build up this spot with that darkness. A little bit across here and a little bit across there. I really want that rough texture in place. And then I can focus on building it up a little more from here. So yeah, it is an involved process, but it's a very different process from using the brush. Excuse me. There we go. You know, Using the brush has its own charms, and I happen to love brush. But there's something about palette knife that makes me smile. Yeah, all the crazy textures that you can get, all the unusual, and they're easy to clean. Just dip them in turpentine, like that. don't know if I'm going to need this. So I'm going to put this one aside. And I put them aside because I am going to clean them. Don't mix dirty knives with clean knives. That causes heartache and issues. Heartache and issues. All right. Rags, very important. And for anyone who has cats, don't let them get to these. I lost my paper towels. Oh my goodness, they were torn apart this morning. I'm like, really, guys, really? Did you have to do that? And apparently the answer was yes. Yes, yes, they had to do that. Look at all that. Eh? That's a lot of yellow. We're gonna need it. We're gonna need it, need it, need it. And now what I want to do is I want to take this palette knife and I want to mix a little bit of this white in with this yellow. I want this to be a very bright color. All right. And I'm also going to pick a green and I'm going to bring some white and yellow to that green and get a somewhat different and brighter green in here. Mainly because the barite didn't work out as I had wanted. Really didn't. Did not work out as I had wanted. That's all right. That happens. And I've got these two darkish greens. I'm going to slather them together and get yet another green. And then this should end up being the final layer. At least that's what I hope. That's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping that this can make the final layer for what we're doing here because I would really like to have this done. I don't want to rush it. Absolutely not. I don't want to rush it. But at the same time, I have to be very much prepared to get this done because I am on a bit of a deadline. And that's because I made some promises and I intend to keep those promises. Okay, Bob Ross knife. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Okay, I'm going to start with oh, I'm going to break that. Yeah. Let's break that. So we're gonna brown this up a little bit. I'm mixing some alizarin crimson with one of the greens, and I'll show you in a second the result of that. It makes a really interesting shadowy green. Your red and green become a brown, and it can be used for shadow colors as well. If you want to deepen a green that's already a little on the dark side, you can just add, there we go, some alizarin crimson, and you get this. Look at that. It's almost like an olive green. Yes. There we go. That's marvelous. Okay, we're going to take this. And we're going to come right in here. Just going to lay in some more color. Just to lay that in, just a little more. I want some more texture in there. I want this to really, yeah, there we go. I want this to really get in there and really do some interesting things. And corrections are just a scrape away, which is also a very nice thing. It's a nice feature of palette knife. You just scrape it in, scrape it out. There we go. There we go. Let's see. A little bit up here too. Why not? Why not? There we go. And at this point, the canvas is completely covered. So we don't have any canvas texture coming through. I know some artists really like working with that canvasy texture. Um, including people like Frank Frazetta and all of that. If you've ever enjoyed his work, he always put his uh, paints on very thinly, utilizing the actual texture of the canvas to help tell the story. And also saved him on a lot of paint. But his stuff also was oils. Mostly his work was oils. Um, there are others like Michael Whelan, whose work is mainly um, acrylic. A lot of his stuff was acrylic. I want to go to, well, this one was not used. We can put this one was not used. Put that back. All right. Now I want this guy again. I really enjoy working with this one right here. It seems to work well with this particular painting and this particular theme. I just want to get some brightness showing up. So you make things dark and then you add some bright on top of it, just kind of broken up there. Helps to really build those layers that you're wanting, like so. Yeah. Oh, that's nice. We like that. Yes, we do. There we go. Much better. Much better. But there has to be an interplay of light and dark. Without that interplay, it's very flat. Doesn't look right. It's almost exhausting to look at. It's so flat and boring. So here we've got a dozen types of green all interacting with each other in layers of light and dark. And that makes it very exciting to the eye. There we go. Yeah. It all flows. You want it to flow. You want there to be a real flow here. You want there to be this tremendous flow and movement in the colors. You want them to be blending nicely, but not completely blending. Good. All right. I got some more of this green on here. You hear me scraping away. And it's important. It really is. It's very important to get all this done properly. Yes, this is deep in set. So I don't want to lose it entirely. There we go. Just want to bring it out a little bit. All right, and now we are up to that yellow. And these are old rags. These are all very old rags. Not really useful for much anymore. So I use them for painting. They'll last for a while. And eventually they get tossed. Don't ever burn them. Wouldn't believe the chemicals that are going to be on them. So you really don't want to burn these. Put them down. Yeah. You see what I've done there. I brought in some highlights. And I'm lightly touching. I'm barely bouncing on this. Barely there. Bob Ross used to call it a whisper. You just want to whisper. Just a whisper. Because otherwise you'll mash everything into one color. You don't really want to do that. You want this to be very light. There we go. And the nice thing is this can be photographed right away for use as a cover. I don't have to wait for it to be dry. That is a real advantage. I don't have to transport it to a photography or anything like that. All I have to do is take a photo and get it ready for publication. That's also a real time saver. And note, I'm not putting too much up here. There's going to be lettering there. Doesn't make any sense to put a lot there if there's going to be all this lettering in place. Yeah. And brighter yellows really works very nicely here. It's really allowing this to do what it's supposed to do. There we go. I'm going to break that up a little bit. So we're going to grab some greens there. There we go. There we go. We're going to smooth that up. All right. And that, my dear friends, looks like it could be that. Yeah, we like that. You know what? No. I want to put a little more yellow. A little more. Didn't think I was going to use this much. Well, more fool eye. All right. More of this yellow. Here we go. All right. We're going to use the same tool. I'm glad I caught that. Right up in here. Let's see. Touch there. Touch there. See, I'm looking at the camera there. Yeah, that's nice. That's nice. A little more there. More here. Very rough texture. I want this to be a very rough texture. Go. Okay, that does it. That does it. All right, so what do I do next? Well, I sign it. That's what I do next. All right, so to sign it, I'm going to grab one of my smaller brushes, this little guy. And this is a Kolinsky Professional Control by New York Central. And I am going to use a mixture of colors that are already on here, but I'm going to use everything that's not green. There we go. And then I'm going to take some of my soft glow medium. I'm going to mix that. We're going to make this really odd ink-like color. It's almost like a strange fuchsia, brownish fuchsia. Really odd looking. But that's great for a signature. I also don't like to mix the paint too much when I'm doing a signature. I want the signature to stand out. And what's nice is it doesn't have to stand out on the cover, because the credit for the cover is already in the book. I always have cover design by, and it's all in there. So I'm actually going to sign it over here, right into the paint. We go back and forth a lot into the paint. I'm mostly carving this in. Glove. And it's 2, 4. All right. Now, I want to get some more color on there. Let's see what we can do here. Have a habit. There we go, of marking my paintings in a multiple fashion. I I don't want to leave it just to one color. And quite honestly, uh, it's also another way to protect the work, because those who know me and they know my paintings are going to look for a multicolored signature. And there we go. Signature is done. And there we go. We've got it. We've got the painting. It's all set to go. All I have to do now is photograph it and then get it ready for the book. So let's give you a real heads-on look at this one before we shut down. There it is. Bring it a little bit closer. There it is. So that is the cover for Nascent. And just got to do a little bit of work with it and get it ready to go. And we'll be all set. All right, everyone. I hope that you have enjoyed this. The painting is now complete. I'll be doing this again in the future, but next time I'm probably going to be talking about some of my ideas in terms of books and upcoming events. Because there's a few of them coming up this summer, including June 1st. That's going to be my premiere for Nascent is June 1st. So until then, have a great week and happy reading, everyone. Thank you so much for watching this. And please feel free to comment and please do subscribe. It does help. Thank you very much, folks. Take care.